Hi, everyone, and welcome to the question and answer session for performance management. I am Faseeha, and I welcome all of you on behalf of SKANS ECampus for this live question and answer session. Okay, we are going to start taking your questions, and we'll be addressing those shortly. But I would like to tell you that this session is basically set up for you to ask any questions regarding performance management, and then we'll specifically be talking about certain topic-based questions as well. So you can ask any question. You're welcome to ask. You have a chat window if you could, see, and through that chat window or comments, you can actually put in the question, and we'll address them. Right. So yeah. So I'll be waiting for your questions through comments, and you can use the chat window if you are. Okay, so you can use the chat window as well to ask the questions. So now it's up to you. I'm waiting for the questions. Okay, so let's start discussing. The first question I have, which is basically the exam importance of the syllabus area in discussion. All right. So I will be annotating a little bit on the screen. I hope you can see it, right? Okay, so the exam importance of the syllabus areas in discussion. So today we are basically discussing the first 2 weeks syllabus areas for the ECampus performance management course plan. So if I write the topics on the screen, the first area we're going to talk about is cost and management accounting techniques. And the second one is going to be the short-term decisions. All right, so I'm going to start with cost and management accounting techniques first. So quickly, the areas which are included here are activity-based costing, target costing, life cycle costing, throughput accounting, and environmental accounting. And for short-term decisions for week 2, the areas which were supposed to be covered included relevant costing techniques, the short-term decisions. So different forms of short-term decisions, from make or buy to shut down decisions to further processing decisions, minimum pricing, etc. And then there is one more area which was supposed to be covered in week 2, and that is pricing. So the exam importance of these areas is very high. Actually, the entire syllabus is very examinable, and examiner can ask you questions from any area. So if I talk specifically about the cost and management accounting techniques, this area, the entire set of topics I'm talking about, can be tested in all 3 sections of the exams, and mainly in section A, which is the objective test questions, and section B, which is the OT case questions of the exam. So examiner has specifically highlighted that this particular area of cost and management accounting techniques will not be thoroughly covered in section C of the exam, which is the constructed response questions or the long form questions. So most of the testing is done in the objective style in part A or as objective test questions in section B of the exam, and very examinable, all the topics, even, if you talk about activity-based costing, target costing, life cycle costing, throughput accounting, even environmental accounting, which is a very quick topic, very theoretical, that is very frequently tested. So, a very important area. Then comes the short-term decisions. And I'm going to talk specifically about relevant costing, short-term decisions, and pricing. So these areas can be tested in all sections of the exam. Section A, the OT section, section B, the OT case section, and then section C, the constructed response or the long form questions area, and very frequently tested. So yes, there are objective test questions in past exams, objective test case questions, and then constructed response question, and multiple types of CR questions. So very comprehensive areas, and you need to cover 100% of the concepts of these areas in order to conveniently attempt the questions in the exam. So yeah, the exam importance is pretty high, I would say. So that was the first question we got. Now let me check if there are more questions. Yeah. So you can actually use the chat window, which you can see on your screen, to type in your questions, and I will address them. And as a comment, you can also ask your question as a comment too. Okay, another question which I would like to address is the expected type of questions from this syllabus area. So I've already discussed it a little bit, but let me repeat this, that from the cost and management accounting techniques, you can get the questions from section A and section B of the exam, which are objective test questions and objective test case questions. And short-term decisions can be tested in all type of questions, ranging from to OT cases to CRs, and we have past exam questions from all of these types. So yeah, these are the type of questions that can be basically used. So are you all familiar with the type of questions, the OTs, the OT cases, and the CRs? If anyone is confused about that, I can explain, but please let us know through the chat window or as a comment. Right. Okay, another question we have is, what are the common mistakes that a student can make in all these syllabus areas, or generally speaking about performance management? So I think the common mistakes generally are when you are not 100% prepared for a topic. So for example, let's talk about activity-based costing. So this topic has a numerical aspect to it, where you need to learn how to calculate the cost of a unit or product using the activity-based costing methodology or the concepts, right? Then you should also be familiar that what is the need for activity-based costing, what are the benefits of activity-based costing over traditional costing like absorption costing. Then you also need to understand the benefits of activity-based costing in modern environment, the limitation or the disadvantages of activity-based costing. You need to also learn what is the suitable environment where activity-based costing is mostly used and is more useful. So basically I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of aspects of one particular topic, so you need to cover all of them 100%. So the biggest mistake you can make is to not cover the entire topic and some numerical aspects of it. The theoretical, the numerical, all aspects are equally important. So you've got to cover them. And yeah, another common mistake the students make, which can make them incorrectly answer the question, especially when it comes to objective questions, is that not reading the requirement carefully. So please read the requirement carefully in order to exactly know what is being asked, and then work around the particular requirement and get to the answer, right? It a multiple choice question or a drop down menu question, etc. And one more thing which I would like to add here is that um, practice for enough different type of questions, maybe from past exams, maybe from extra question bank you have from any of the approved content provider, ACCA approved content provider. So maximize your practice so that all different type of questions. So from one topic you get a lot of different style of questions, uh, and the different concepts are tested in very different ways in all exams. So practice is something that is going to help you. Okay, now I go if I go specific to topic wise mistakes, some of so for example, so for throughput accounting, only learning the formulas will not help you to answer all the questions. You will have to, learn the formulas and also the concepts that how things are working. And within throughput accounting, there is a topic theory of constraint. You need to understand that, learn the assumptions of that topic as well. That's just an example. So covering the entire topic with all the concepts will definitely help you, and you can always check your syllabus guide for that. And if you're already enrolled through SKANS ECampus, all the video lectures are actually covered in a way that it covers most of the examinable areas, actually all the key examinable areas, with the emphasis on the exam importance and the exam technique, right? Okay, I have got a couple of more questions. Let me just, okay. So, okay, I'm going to answer Samara's question now. So, what is an OT case question? Okay, I am switching to the sheet I have. So, everyone who is not familiar with an objective test case question, these questions are tested in section B of the exam. There will be 3 OT cases tested in total for a total marks of 30. So each OT case is 10 marks. All right. So OT case on a split screen in a CBE will have the scenario on the left hand side of the screen. So here we will have a proper scenario with all the information. And right hand side of the screen, you will have 5 objective question. So 5 objective question are not going to be shown in one go. So you'll have to actually move your window to get to know all the 5 questions. But OT case questions are one scenario, and with one scenario there are 5 OT questions. Each question is for 2 marks, and the total score for 5 OTs for attached with one scenario will be 10 marks, right? So one OT case for 10 marks. However, all these 5 OTs or objective questions which belong or linked to this one particular scenario will not be dependent on each other. I mean, the answer of one OT question of an OT case will not be included or used in the next question or in the next calculation. So there will be independent questions, but they all will belong to one particular scenario. All right. I hope this clarifies the concept of OT case questions for you. All right. So there's a question that can they submit the past papers for guidance and review? So basically, within the course of SKANS eCampus, we have built in assignments. So you have the option of attempting an assignment every week. So you can submit those, and definitely the feedback and how to improve the performance feedback will be shared with you through the assignments. All right. Okay. Okay, so all right. Moving further, what is the difference between a performance management and advanced performance management exam? So, performance management exam is the basic exam where you're going to learn different concepts which are used for performance management within the organization. Advanced performance management is, as the name suggests, it's the advanced exam. Um of performance management. And this exam is basically more linked with application of the different techniques and the practical scenarios. So case studies are longer. There are professional skills marks tested, and it's more practical in nature. I mean, performance management exam is very built around very practical scenarios too, but the scenarios are shorter and the application is limited. So in APM, the application is like really advanced. And yes, both papers are very much connected. So you can say that performance management exam is the base for the advanced performance management. I hope this answers your question. Okay. All right. So if you have a specific, question regarding any past, let's say if you have a specific question from past exams, and if you are having a difficulty in the calculation, you can actually email me, and I will get back to you with the detailed feedback on the question, basically the explanation through the email. So that is an option too. All right, thank you very much for the next question. And the question is that can we expect a long form question on activity based costing? As I explained earlier as well, the areas from section A of the syllabus can not be tested as a long form question. They can only be tested as the objective test questions or the OT case questions in section A and B of the exam. So yeah, we cannot expect a long form questions. However, the objective questions can be tested in any way. So you need to cover the entire concept, all the aspects of a particular topic, right? All right, everyone, please keep your questions coming in so that we could help you as much as we could. All right. Okay, now I have a very interesting question which I really like to explain is that how to prepare and improve the performance in a particular syllabus area, and especially, for these first 2 weeks. So I think there are a couple of things you need to actually do to prepare a topic fully, and then prepare it to the level where you're comfortable with all sort of questions in the exam. So first thing is to definitely cover any textbook, or in for SKANS ECampus, the notes you are using for PM. So that's the first thing I think you should be doing. Along with, of course, this is the second step. The first thing is to recordings of the lectures, and make sure that you also cover debrief questions as well, so that you get an idea how these questions are tested in the exam. So all the examples, all the concepts should be covered through recordings. That is step number one. Step number two is to read the same concepts from the notes. So that is going to revise the concepts you have recordings, and then we'll have different examples, so may improve your concepts. Then we have also provided you with a set of practice questions with each topic. All these form of exam questions as practice sets. So attempt those questions, and if you have any difficulty while solving any of the questions, you can ask your confusion through email for a particular calculation from a particular question, and we'll get back to you on that. So of course you will naturally face the confusions and the problems with the calculation. So if you have any problem in the calculation, ask the question. But after this, we do have the recorded question debriefs or the live sessions. Cover those, and then rest of practice needs to be done for it totally depends if you're using ACCA approved content providers kit. That we have also provided you with the question bank, so you can choose to solve those questions. And then very important, the assignment clearly improving every week. So this is, I think, which everyone should be following in order to prepare and of course improve the performance. It comes with practice. Okay. Okay, the next question I'm going to address is that what is the proportion of theoretical and numerical testing in all of the 3 sections in PM exam? So it's very clear if you look at the past exams that in all 3 sections, when I say 3 sections, it means section A, where you will be given 15 objective questions, section B, where there will be 3 OT cases with 5 questions each, and then the constructed response area, which is the long form question. So in all 3 parts of the exam sections, the numerical and theoretical proportion are equally tested. So I'm not exactly saying 50:50, because in every exam attempt, this ratio might change. So in some exam attempts, there is more theoretical testing than numerical, but it's remains around 50:50, roughly, if I have to say. So again, one of the major problems while preparing the students, the mistake the students make is that they focus a lot on numerical aspects and they think that they will eventually prepare the theoretical aspects, or they are not very important. But the reality is that the theoretical concepts are very, very important and are equally examinable. Sometimes straight theory question, and sometimes you will elaborate your calculations through theoretical concepts or theoretical way. So it's very important that you work on both aspects, the numerical and the theoretical aspect. And when you're learning PM, you should also you will be observing that the concepts are actually there are equal, importance for numerical as well as theoretical concepts. So examiner can test you from any particular topic. You cover the syllabus, and when we say that, it means numerical and theoretical should be given equal importance. All right. So yeah, proportion of theoretical and numerical is actually 50 ratio 50 for most of the exam attempts, and sometimes the theory is tested even more. All right. All right. So those who are online, have you guys already started covering the syllabus areas? And if you're already enrolled with us, what's the status for assignment 1, if I may ask? Okay. Okay, there's another question which is asking about what is the incremental cost and opportunity cost. Okay, so let's talk about incremental cost. So incremental cost is the concept which is specific to relevant costing or decision making, short-term decisions. So basically, short-term decisions are based on the principles of relevant costing. So incremental cost is any cost that is incurred incrementally because of a certain decision. So if you have to take up a project, for example, and because of that project, a cost is being incurred, be it material or labor or any kind of overhead, but it has to be specifically because of the new current project or decision, then that cost will be taken as the incremental cost. And yes, incremental costs are always the relevant costs. Okay, there is another question about further processing decisions with limiting factor. I think there is, so further processing decisions are there, but further processing decisions with limiting factor is not something which is within the scope of a performance management exam. So I'll explain for you the further processing decisions. So further processing decision question can be tested in short-term decisions, definitely. But the scenario will be specific that in a joint process, let's say, there is this situation where you have to decide about further processing of some of the joint products you have got. So you consider the incremental revenue if we further process, and we compare the incremental revenue with the incremental costs of further processing. So if we are getting a benefit or a surplus, then we further process. And if we are not getting a surplus over basically income over cost, then we decide not to further process. So that's how, you take up further processing decisions. All right, so I was talking about the assignments for this particular week. Week one, I think, is already, the deadline is already passed, but week two is in progress. So I will highly recommend that you cover all the assignments. Okay. For the criteria of the assignments, let me take up your question. Just give me 1 second. So is assignment marking is used for recalling the concepts, either how much topics are prepared or not? Please explain the criteria. So every week in the course plan, we have, we have defined the course plan with certain number of topics every week. So the assignment each week will be based on those topics, and the assignment questions are very much closer to the exam level questions. They are actually exam level questions, so you're supposed to solve them and then we share the feedback. So this is how assignments work. But let's say if you're lacking behind and you're not able to keep up with every week topics, then you can definitely opt for the flexible marking option. That is also an option. Then you can, choose to submit the assignment whenever you want to, and the feedback will be given. They will be marked and feedback will be shared. So yeah, that option is definitely there. Yeah. So, sorry, I skipped the concept of opportunity cost. So, opportunity cost, again, is the area which is relevant costing area or linked to short term decision making. So, opportunity cost is any cost, or it is basically the opportunity lost because of the current decision in hand. So, there has to be a current decision we are talking about in the exam question, and the opportunity cost will be the opportunity we lose out because of the new project in hand. So it can be considered, it can be some lost income, and we are losing that income because of the current project in hand. So the cost of, I would say, the second best alternative is the opportunity cost, and opportunity cost is the relevant cost, always the relevant cost. As compared to opportunity cost, there is another concept which is normally known as sunk cost. That is the concept where you do not have the actual opportunity available. You are just, thinking that if there was an opportunity. So in order for the opportunity cost to be relevant, there has to be an actual opportunity mentioned in the question. Otherwise it will be a sunk cost, and sunk cost will not be relevant. But in most of the exam questions, sunk cost is not tested as such. So it's more opportunity cost, and as I said earlier, it is the cost of the second best alternative. All right. Okay, how do we get the feedback about the completed assignment? So once you submit your assignment, that assignment is allocated to the marker to mark, and once they mark the assignment, the feedback is saved in your system and you can review it then. So for example, if the deadline of the assignment is, let's say, 4th of October for you, I'm just taking an example. So if you submit the assignment by the given deadline, the marker marks the assignment within next 2 days. So after the 2 days, you can actually check. And I think there is an indication through email to the students as well. System generated email, which actually notifies that your assignment is marked. Otherwise, within 2 days, the assignment is marked and the feedback is shared, provided you have met the deadline of the assignment, right? All right. All right, so I think these were the questions which I got. Please let me know through the chat window or the comments section if you have more questions. Okay, this is an interesting question that why does performance management has a very low pass rate? I really appreciate you asking this question, but let me tell you the exact stats. The recent attempts of performance management's pass rates are not very low, honestly, if you compare it with the other exams of ACCA. Having said that, I do not mean to say that it's always great. So globally, performance management passing rates are towards on the lower side, and I think one of the main reasons is that it's a very conceptual and a very comprehensive exam. So mostly the examiner also highlights the fact that students are not 100% prepared. They don't cover the entire syllabus. They don't take care of the numerical as well as theoretical aspects, and not enough practice of all type of questions. Just practicing for the constructed response question might not be enough. So all type of questions, OTs, OT cases, and then when you practice the past exam questions, then you realize that how much the theoretical concepts and very small concepts which normally students overlook are very important, that they are built into a question. So I think the critical success factor for this exam is going to be covering the entire syllabus with equal importance of theoretical and numerical aspects, and yeah, a lot of practice. I hope this answers your question. My advice, so the advice to pass the exam in the first attempt, above average pass mark, is number one. Again, it depends, enroll with us, cover the entire set of recordings with full focus. It is very important for us to cover the concepts with focus, because the exam is very conceptual. So you can't expect to cover the concept while using your phone, for example. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think one of the important aspect is, whenever you are studying, try to have that focus, right? So cover the recordings, then straight away move to the relevant notes, read the same topics from the notes. The third step is solve the practice questions. If there are questions, ask them right away through email, whether it's a calculation or or any concept. So cover it through like this. Then also attend the recorded live sessions or the debrief questions, in order to see how what's the intensity of the topic, etc. And then yes, practice more out of the question bank, the past exams, or from the ACCA approved content providers exam kit, let's say. So I think that's the way. And when you comprehensively cover the syllabus, this gives you confidence, so one topic after the other and so on. And yes, very important, you need to do the assignments for time management, for the use of CB and the application of the concepts, and then the feedback on the assignments. Take that seriously, and at the end try to do mock exams. So I think this is the way. And I think this is applicable to all exams, but when it comes to PM, because I teach PM, I know that it is one of the very comprehensive exam in terms of the conceptual. It's a very conceptual exam, right? And the questions especially are very different from each other. So in one exam attempt, you're getting a constructed response question on, let's say, pricing in a very different way, and in the next exam attempt you get the same topic, pricing, in a very different way. The scenario is different, the calculations are different. So variety is something that student need to understand, that can be there. The questions can be tested in any way. So don't try to learn certain style of questions. That is something that's a bad idea when it comes to this exam, especially, right? Okay. There is a question in pricing test. There is a question in pricing practice test. Okay, so can you please share the screenshot of the question through email so that I could actually have a look at the question and then get back to you for the particular confusion you're having? Is that a possibility? The question about complementary products, because I need to have a look at the questions first and then exactly tell you where the problem is. So please email me and I will get back to you. Okay. How can we take ACCA approved content provider exam kit? So you can purchase the kit online, as well as you can check your local suppliers if they have the hard copy of the kit. So I'm talking about any of the kits from ACC approved content providers. You can use that, as well as past exam papers are available on ACCA website, both in both PDF form as well as in a computer based exam form. And yes, we have given you plenty of practice questions and the data bank as well to practice on certain topics. All right. Okay, let me see if I'm not. Is assignment marks are included in the final exam? No, no. The assignments which we are going to provide you are only for practice. The final exam will be conducted by ACCA through British Council, and that will be an independent exam. It will not be dependent on the marks of the assignments. I hope this is clear. I'm trying to answer all the questions, but please let me know if I have missed any of the questions from you. I hope not, but please let me know. Okay, the next live question and answer session will be mostly based around the topics for the next 2 weeks. So if you have questions around those topics, you can ask those. But I would suggest you to ask for the questions which are confusing or any calculation which is bothering you through email also. And yeah, any questions regarding the recorded lectures and the debrief questions, etc. All right, guys, if you could quickly confirm if you have more questions through the chat window or the comment section. Are there more questions? Okay. All right, great. All right, then, if there are no more questions, I would say thank you very much for joining in today. Meanwhile, if you have any questions later, specifically about any of the practice questions, do let me know. Do email, and I will get back to you. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care and goodbye.